Hi there, I'm Ricardo Blanco. I'm 24 years old, and as a recent graduate in English literature at the University of Sussex, I'm here to tell you about my own personal journey and how I found my humanities course helpful for life post-university. First, I'll tell you a little bit about myself so you know where I'm coming from. But I'm originally Spanish and grew up in Lanzarote in the Canary Islands for most of my life until I was 16, where I then moved to London to study my A-levels all by myself. Thinking back about this, it does sound like a crazy idea, but in that moment I knew that I had to leave a very small island which restricted me from pursuing and studying the things that I loved the most, which were English literature and the arts. It was a huge leap into unknown territory, but I can strongly say today that it was one of the best decisions I've done in my entire life. Afterwards, I moved to Brighton and studied English Lit at Sussex. Following that, I graduated last year from a Masters in Art History and Museum Curating, also at Sussex. And then in terms of the work that I've done after graduating, I've worked for organisations such as the Attenborough Centre for Creative Arts as a communications assistant. I currently work part-time for Little Green Pig, which is a charity that delivers creative workshops for young people living in areas of highest deprivation in Sussex and beyond, and I'm their administrator and volunteer manager. I also work one day a week for PhotoWorks as their learning and engagement coordinator, where I'm mainly project managing an LGBTQ+ curatorial project. Alongside that, I am also an event manager and front of house coordinator for Fabrica Art Gallery, although I'm currently furloughed given the current situation. And aside from that, I'm one of the co-founders of a photography-based collective called Underexposed, where we're currently doing some commissions that Brighton CCA and Fabrica are giving us. So that's enough about me, and I hate talking about myself, so I just wanted to lay out everything that I'm currently doing. Hopefully it gives you an idea that you can have the liberty to choose what kind of work you want to do, and that you don't need to commit to a full-time job if that might not be the thing that you're looking for, and just to be comfortable with choosing peculiar paths if you think that's right for you. My English literature course ended up being 4 years long, as I did 1 year in Lyon as a study abroad option, and it wasn't until I came back from France that I started seriously thinking about how my life would look like after graduation. I am sure many of you have relentlessly been told to do extracurricular activities or to volunteer while being a student, but it's helpful to reframe this. Try not to think of having to do these things as a task. Remember, most of us made the decision to study in the humanities because we wanted to, even after hearing from many people that it might not secure you a job, especially in the current climate. We decided to pursue this because we are passionate about it, or enjoy reading or being critical or analysing language. It's important to stick with that mentality, to do the things you want to do most because you are passionate about them rather than thinking of them as transactional. Volunteer your time with organisations you feel passionate about and dedicate the time you have on your hands to do the things that you love most, as there is always something to be learned in whatever you put your mind to, which comes to my first point, which is volunteering. When I returned from France, I started thinking about what I enjoyed doing in my spare time. And apart from reading, I was influenced by the contemporary visual arts. I'd often visit galleries and would dedicate many hours of my time thinking, learning, and discovering the many stories within photographs, paintings, or sketches. So I decided that I wanted to volunteer within arts organizations to learn a bit more about how things actually worked within that specific sector. My first experience volunteering was during House Biennial in 2017, which is an arts festival in Brighton that curated a program of contemporary visual arts exhibitions and events. And during this time, not only did I learn very valuable skills, but I also met a future employer, my current flatmate, and worked with an artist who I am still in touch with. When being a volunteer, I really believe that you will get as much as you put into it, and if it's something that you enjoy doing, you will find yourself organically becoming someone that other people would like to work with, and that can only get you positive things. So test things out and experience different roles, because you won't be able to see what feels right for you until you experience it firsthand. So my second point is, what has my literature degree taught me? So sitting here today, I can firmly say that it has given me the critical writing and analytical skills that I use on a daily basis within my jobs. Alongside that, I am able to make persuasive arguments and also empathize with the existence of other perspectives that are different from my own. I am also aware of how my course trained me to read voraciously and how I can read emails and formulate responses swiftly, which I personally find critical when working for small organizations which expect you to work in a very efficient and quick way. All these skills are things that often go unnoticed, and I truly believe in the power of being confident and assured that you possess them and can convince a future employer of why you are the perfect candidate for any given position. My third point will be passion. When thinking about how to apply what you are learning in your course to anything outside university, think about what you are passionate about. I clearly knew that the texts I enjoyed most during my course were those with a very strong visual reference. I'm thinking of The Picture of Dorian Gray, or any poems that heavily referenced the pre-Raphaelite paintings such as Godiva or The Lady of Shalott. Even to this day, I apply things that I currently read to my work. When I develop workshops for my collective Underexposed, for example, or just realize the power that lies in doing something for the joy of it, rather than the outcome, and produce work or content that you give attention to rather than do it to gain attention. That way the work will speak for itself. So the third point would be passion. When thinking about how to apply what you are learning in your course to anything outside university, think about what you are passionate about. I clearly knew that the texts that I enjoyed the most during my course were those with a strong visual language, and those that were very referential to paintings or anything visual. I think of The Picture of Dorian Gray, for example, or any poem that reference pre-Raphaelite paintings such as Godiva or The Lady of Shalott. Even to this day, I apply things that I currently read to my work, such as when I develop workshops for my collective Underexposed. And I just want you to realize the power that lies in doing something for the joy of it, rather than to find an outcome from the work that you're doing. Produce work or content that you are giving attention to rather than doing it to gain attention. That way the work will be able to speak for itself. I always remember this when I think about where I want to see myself in 3 or 5 years from now. There are two types of people in the world, I think. Those who live to work, and then those who work to live. And I think there are many connotations with that saying anyway, but the way I see it is that if you truly put the efforts to find a way to make the things you are passionate about something that you can make a living of, you are working to live, as those things bring you the enthusiasm to wake up each morning doing something you believe in and being able to be part of the wider conversation of that specific sector. And that's pretty much the end of that. Hopefully I've done my job correctly, and I have pointed out some things that you might have not considered, and you might find this video inspirational, which hopefully that is something that will inspire you to do something now that will propel your professional development in some way.